Welcome to Meet Patel. Welcome to Meet Patel Audiobooks. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. Let's begin.
Welcome to Meet Patel Audiobooks. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 51, The Quiet After. The apartment felt different the morning after the celebration. The decorations were still there, the faint scent of cake lingered in the air, and small traces of the previous day remained scattered throughout the space. But the energy had changed. It was quieter, not empty, but settled. Ryan Carter stood near the table, looking at the small items left behind. For a moment, he didn't move. He simply observed, letting the memory of the previous day settle fully in his mind. Behind him, Sophia moved quietly, holding Liam as she gently adjusted his blanket. The child remained calm, as always, but there was something about him now that felt different to Ryan. Not because Liam had changed, but because Ryan had. "That was a good day," Sophia said softly. Ryan turned slightly. "Yeah," he replied. "It was." There was no need to say more. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was filled with shared understanding. New task generated. Preserve emotional stability. Ryan didn't need guidance. He was already there. He stepped closer and began clearing the table slowly, his movements calm and steady. Sophia joined him without a word, their actions naturally aligning once again. As their hands moved around the same space, they paused briefly at the same moment, reaching for the same item. Their fingers touched. Neither moved immediately. It wasn't surprising anymore. It felt familiar. Sophia looked at him briefly, her expression soft. "We should keep one," she said, referring to the decorations. Ryan nodded. "Yeah, we should." Task completed. Reward, emotional stability increased. Additional reward, $90 added. Ryan exhaled quietly. The room returned to calm. But something stayed. A quiet warmth that didn't fade. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 52, A Slower Pace. The day moved gently, without urgency. For the first time in a while, Ryan Carter didn't feel like he was catching up to something. Instead, he felt like he was moving at the right pace. He sat near the window, reviewing his university notes, while Liam rested nearby. Sophia sat across from him, her presence calm, occasionally glancing between him and the child. "You're focusing again," she said. Ryan looked up. "I have to." She nodded. "But not too much." Ryan smiled faintly. "I'll manage." There was no pressure in her tone, only quiet support. Ryan returned to his notes, but this time, his mind didn't feel divided. He was aware of everything. His studies, Liam, Sophia, but none of it felt overwhelming. New task generated. Maintain balanced routine. Ryan understood immediately. This wasn't about doing everything perfectly. It was about doing things steadily. After some time, he closed his notebook and leaned back slightly. "Break," Sophia said. Ryan looked at her. "You noticed?" She gave a small smile. "I've been watching." Ryan let out a quiet breath. "Thanks." Sophia stood and walked toward the kitchen, returning a moment later with a glass of water. She handed it to him naturally. Their fingers brushed again. This time, Ryan didn't look away immediately. Task completed. Reward, focus stability increased. Additional reward, $100 added. Ryan took the glass, his thoughts calmer than before. This wasn't just routine anymore. It was balance. And for the first time, it felt sustainable. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 53, A Step Forward. The evening settled quietly once again, but this time, there was a subtle shift in Ryan Carter's thoughts. The past few days had been filled with meaningful moments, but now, something new began to surface. The future. Ryan stood near the window, looking out at the city. The lights stretched endlessly, each one representing movement, growth, possibility. Sophia approached slowly, stopping beside him. "You're thinking again," she said. Ryan nodded. "About what comes next?" She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she looked out at the same view. "Then take it one step at a time," she said. Ryan glanced at her. "I don't want to rely on the system forever." The words were quiet, but clear. Sophia looked at him. "Then don't." Ryan blinked slightly. "Build something of your own," she added. Slowly, Ryan let out a slow breath. That made sense. New task generated. Define personal direction. Ryan didn't hesitate this time. He already knew. "I'll start small," he said. Sophia nodded. That's enough. There was no rush. No pressure. Just a direction. Task completed. Reward. Clarity of purpose increased. Additional reward. $120 added. Ryan looked at Liam, then back at Sophia. For the first time, his thoughts about the future didn't feel uncertain. They felt clear. And as he stood there, in the quiet of the evening, Ryan Carter understood something important. This was no longer just about learning to live. It was about choosing how to live. And he was ready to take that step. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 54, The First Idea. The morning carried a quiet clarity that Ryan Carter hadn't felt before. It wasn't just another day filled with routine. Something had shifted. The thought from the previous night stayed with him, steady and persistent. He couldn't rely on the system forever. Ryan sat at the table with a notebook open in front of him, a pen resting in his hand, but not moving yet. Across from him, Sophia sat calmly, watching Liam as he rested. "You're serious about this?" she said softly. Ryan nodded. "I don't want everything to come from the system." Sophia didn't interrupt. She simply listened. Ryan looked down at the blank page. "I just don't know where to start." There was a pause. Then Sophia spoke. "Start with something small. Something you can manage." Ryan thought about it carefully. His life right now was simple. Limited time, limited resources, but steady. Something small. Something practical. "Maybe something online," he said. Sophia nodded. "That fits." New task generated. Identify a practical starting point. Ryan began writing slowly. Ideas came one by one. Not perfect, not complete, but enough to begin. Selling small items. Basic services. Something flexible. Task progress. 60%. Ryan leaned back slightly, looking at what he had written. It wasn't impressive, but it was real. "I'll try this," he said. Sophia gave a faint smile. "That's how it starts." Task completed. Reward. Idea clarity increased. Additional reward. $80 added. Ryan closed the notebook. For the first time, he wasn't just thinking about change. He was starting it. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 55, Taking the First Step. The apartment was quiet, but Ryan Carter's focus was sharper than usual. The notebook from the previous day now sat open again, but this time, he wasn't hesitating. He had chosen a direction. Now he needed to act. Sophia sat nearby, occasionally watching him, but not interfering. "What's the first step?" she asked. Ryan thought for a moment. "Set it up. Simple. Clear." He opened his laptop, something he hadn't used seriously in a while, and began searching, learning, setting up small things step by step. It wasn't fast. It wasn't smooth. But it was progress. New task generated. Take initial action. Ryan didn't pause. He followed through. Account creation. Basic setup. Simple listing. Each step felt small, but meaningful. Task progress. 70%. There were moments of confusion, moments where he stopped and thought, but he didn't quit. Task completed. Reward. Persistence increased. Additional reward. $90 added. Ryan leaned back slightly, looking at the screen. It wasn't perfect, but it was done. The first step had been taken, and that mattered. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 56, Small Progress. The day moved forward quietly, but something had changed in the atmosphere of the apartment. Ryan Carter wasn't just managing his responsibilities anymore. He was building something. He sat near the table, checking the small setup he had created. There wasn't much activity yet, no immediate results, but he didn't expect any. Sophia stood nearby, holding Liam, observing him quietly. "You're calmer," she said. Ryan looked up. "I think I know what I'm doing now." She nodded. "That helps." Ryan smiled faintly. "It does." New task generated. Maintain consistency. Ryan understood immediately. This wasn't about quick success. It was about steady effort. He made small adjustments, improved small details, and continued learning. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming. Just progress. Task progress. 80%. After a while, he closed the laptop and stood up, stretching slightly. Sophia walked closer. "You don't look stressed," she said. "This feels good," he added. Sophia looked at him. "That's how you know you're on the right path." Task completed. Reward. Consistency boost acquired. Additional reward. $100 added. Ryan glanced at Liam, then back at Sophia. Everything was still simple, still small, but it was moving forward. And as Ryan Carter stood there, he realized something quietly. This wasn't just a change. It was growth. And it had only just begun. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 57. Waiting for something to happen. The next morning felt quieter than usual, but not in a negative way. Ryan Carter sat at the table with his laptop open, his eyes occasionally moving toward the screen, then away again. He wasn't doing much at the moment, just checking, waiting. It was a new feeling, not knowing when something would happen. Sophia sat nearby, gently holding Liam, observing Ryan without interrupting. "You're checking again," she said softly. Ryan let out a small breath. "I know. I said I wouldn't rush." She smiled faintly. "But you're still curious." Ryan nodded. "Yeah." There was no pressure in the moment. No urgency. Just quiet anticipation. New task generated. Practice patience. Ryan leaned back slightly, closing the laptop for a moment. "I'll wait," he said. Sophia looked at him, her expression calm. "That's better." He shifted his focus, helping with Liam, adjusting small things, letting time pass naturally instead of forcing it. Task completed. Reward. Patience increased. Additional reward. $70 added. Ryan exhaled slowly. This wasn't about speed. It was about timing. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 58. The First Notification. The afternoon moved quietly, just like the morning had. Ryan Carter sat near the table again, this time more relaxed, not constantly checking, just occasionally glancing at his laptop. Then, a small sound. A notification. Ryan's attention shifted instantly. He leaned forward, opening the screen fully. For a moment, he didn't move. Then he read it again. A request. Small. Simple. But real. Ryan's expression changed, not dramatically, but noticeably. Sophia saw it immediately. "What happened?" she asked. Ryan looked at her. "It's my first one." She didn't react loudly. Instead, she smiled softly. "That's good." Ryan nodded slowly. "Yeah, it is." New task generated. Complete first task carefully. Ryan's focus sharpened instantly. This wasn't about money. This was about doing it right. He began working, step by step, carefully following what was needed, making sure nothing was rushed. Sophia stayed quiet, watching, giving him space. Task progress, 70%. Ryan didn't stop. He finished it properly. Not fast, but correctly. Task completed. Reward, skill confidence increased. Additional reward, $120 added. Ryan leaned back slowly. For a moment, he just sat there. Then he smiled. It wasn't big, but it was real. "I did it," he said quietly. Sophia nodded. "I know." Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 59. The First Earnings. Evening settled gently, bringing a calm silence with it. Ryan Carter sat near the table, looking at his phone this time. The amount wasn't large, but it was there. Real. Earned. He stared at it for a few seconds longer than necessary. Sophia walked closer. "You're looking at it like it's something big," she said. Ryan smiled faintly. "It is." She looked at the screen briefly, then back at him. "You earned it," she said. Ryan nodded. "Yeah, I did." There was no excitement in a loud sense. Just quiet satisfaction. New task generated. Acknowledge personal progress. Ryan didn't need to think. He already had. Task completed. Reward. Self-belief increased. Additional reward. $100 added. Ryan stood up slowly, moving toward Liam, who was resting peacefully. He adjusted the blanket gently. This time, the feeling was different. Not just responsibility. Not just routine. But progress. Real progress. And it felt good. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 60. A Step That Matters. The night was calm, but something had changed inside Ryan Carter. He stood near the window again, looking out at the city lights. But this time, his thoughts weren't uncertain. They were clear. Sophia stood beside him quietly. "You're thinking about the future again," she said. Ryan nodded. But not the same way. She looked at him. "How?" Ryan exhaled slowly. "It doesn't feel far anymore." There was a brief silence. Then Sophia spoke softly. "That's because you started." Ryan glanced at her. She was right. New task generated. Continue forward steadily. Ryan didn't hesitate. He already knew. "I will," he said. Sophia nodded. "I know." Their hands rested near each other on the window ledge. Not touching, but close. Close enough to feel. Task completed. Reward, direction stability increased. Additional reward, $150 added. Ryan looked at Liam, then at Sophia, then back at the city. Everything felt connected now. Not separate, not uncertain, just moving forward, step by step. And for the first time, Ryan Carter didn't just feel like he was building a life. He felt like he was living the right one. Welcome to Meet Patel Audiobooks. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 61, Balancing the Day. The morning began with a steady rhythm inside the apartment. Ryan Carter moved through his routine with more clarity than before, preparing things calmly while keeping track of time in a way that felt natural. Liam rested nearby, while Sophia sat beside him, gently watching over the child. Ryan checked his schedule briefly. "I'll need to go to the university again today," he said. "Just a few hours." She nodded. "I'll be here." There was no hesitation in her voice. Ryan picked up his bag, pausing for a moment as his eyes moved toward Liam, then Sophia. "I'll finish things quickly," he said. Sophia gave a small nod. "Take your time." New task generated. Maintain life balance. Ryan stepped outside, the city greeting him once again. This time, however, his mind wasn't divided. He knew what he had to do. When he reached the university, everything felt familiar, but not overwhelming. He attended his lecture, took notes carefully, and stayed focused. There were no distractions, no rushing thoughts. Task progress, 80%. After class, he didn't stay longer than needed. He packed his things and left, moving with quiet purpose. Task completed. Reward, time management improved. Additional reward, $100 added. As Ryan walked back, one thought stayed steady. He wasn't choosing between his responsibilities anymore. He was balancing them. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 62, Her World. The apartment was calm when Ryan returned, but something felt slightly different. Sophia wasn't sitting still. She stood near the window, her phone in hand, speaking quietly. Her tone was composed, professional, different from how she usually spoke at home. Ryan paused for a moment, observing. This was her world. Sophia noticed him and ended the call shortly after. "You're back," she said. Ryan nodded. "You were busy." She gave a small nod. "Work." Ryan didn't ask too many questions, but he understood. "You don't have to stop," he said. Sophia looked at him. "I'm not stopping," she replied calmly. "Just adjusting." Ryan nodded. "That makes sense." New task generated. Understand partner's responsibilities. Ryan leaned slightly against the wall, watching as she returned her attention to Liam, her movements shifting naturally back into calm. Two different sides. Same person. "You manage both well," Ryan said. Sophia glanced at him. "I'm trying." There was a brief silence. Then, "So are you," she added. Ryan smiled faintly. Task completed. Reward, awareness increased. Additional reward, $110 added. Ryan realized something quietly. Their worlds were different, but they were learning how to share them. And that mattered. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 63, Moving at the Same Pace. Evening arrived softly, bringing a calm silence that had become familiar. Ryan Carter sat near the table, reviewing a small task on his laptop, while Sophia sat nearby, holding Liam. There was no rush, no pressure, just steady movement. Ryan finished his work and closed the laptop. "Done?" Sophia asked. Ryan nodded. "For today." She gave a small smile. "That's good." Ryan leaned back slightly. "You had work too." Sophia nodded. "Just a few calls." There was a pause. Then Ryan spoke again. "We're both managing things." Sophia looked at him. "Yeah, we are." New task generated. Maintain shared progress. Ryan didn't need to think. He already understood. He stood up and walked toward her, stopping beside the bed. For a moment, they both looked at Liam. No words. Just quiet understanding. Their hands rested close again. Not touching, but steady. Task completed. Reward, relationship harmony increased. Additional reward, $130 added. Ryan exhaled softly. Everything was moving forward. Not fast. Not slow. Just right. And for the first time, Ryan Carter realized something clearly. He didn't feel like he was catching up anymore. He felt like he was moving forward, at the same pace as life itself. Open Book Daily Life of a Super Dad System. Chapter 64, An Invitation. The morning carried a calm rhythm, but something new was quietly forming beneath it. Ryan Carter sat near the table, reviewing a small task on his laptop, while Sophia stood by the window, finishing another short call. When she ended it, she didn't return to her usual place immediately. Instead, she looked at him. "I have to go to the set today," she said. Ryan nodded. "Work again." She stepped closer. "You can come." Ryan paused. "Me?" Sophia gave a small nod. "And Liam?" There was no hesitation in her tone. Ryan thought for a moment. This wasn't something he had considered before, not fully stepping into her world. "Are you sure?" he asked. Sophia looked at him calmly. "Yes." New task generated. Step into partner's environment. Ryan closed his laptop slowly. "All right," he said. Sophia's expression softened slightly. "Then get ready." There was no pressure, just a quiet step forward. And this time, Ryan wasn't just observing her world from a distance. He was going to be part of it. Open Book Daily Life of a Super Dad System. Chapter 65, A Different Environment. The filming location was just as Ryan remembered, but this time, it felt different. Not distant, not overwhelming, just unfamiliar. He walked beside Sophia, holding Liam carefully, while the environment around them moved with structured energy. Crew members, equipment, quiet coordination, everything had its place. But what stood out the most was how Sophia fit into it. Her posture changed slightly. Her movements became more precise, more focused. She wasn't distant, but she was clearly in her element. Ryan noticed. "Stay close," she said softly. "I will." They moved through the set calmly. People greeted Sophia respectfully, their attention natural but not overwhelming. A few glanced at Ryan, then at Liam, but no one questioned. New task generated. Adapt to new environment. Ryan didn't rush. He observed, listened, adjusted. He found a quiet spot near the side, staying out of the way but present. Sophia stepped away briefly for a scene, but before leaving, she glanced back at him. Ryan understood. "I've got him," he said quietly. She nodded. That was enough. Task completed. Reward, adaptability increased. Additional reward, $120 added. Ryan stood there, holding Liam, watching Sophia work. For the first time, he saw her world clearly, and he respected it. Open Book Daily Life of a Super Dad System. Chapter 66, Watching Her Work. The set moved with quiet precision as Sophia Reed stepped into her role. Ryan Carter stood at a distance, holding Liam, observing everything carefully. He had never seen her like this before. Focused, calm, completely in control. Her expressions changed naturally, her movements smooth, her attention sharp. There was no hesitation in the way she worked. Ryan didn't interrupt. He simply watched. New task generated. Appreciate partner's effort. Ryan understood immediately. This wasn't just her job. It was something she had built. Sophia finished her scene and stepped back, her expression returning to its calm state. Then she walked over. "How was it?" she asked. Ryan smiled faintly. "You're good." She didn't react strongly, but her expression softened slightly. Task completed. Reward, emotional appreciation increased. Additional reward, $130 added. Ryan shifted Liam slightly, standing a bit closer now. "You handle everything well," he added. Sophia looked at him quietly. "So do you." The moment stayed. Simple, but meaningful. Open Book Daily Life of a Super Dad System. Chapter 67, Standing Beside Her. The evening light began to settle over the set, bringing a slower pace to the environment. The work wasn't finished yet, but the intensity had softened. Ryan Carter stood beside Sophia now, no longer at a distance. Not separate. Present. Liam rested calmly in his arms, as always. "You didn't seem uncomfortable," Sophia said. Ryan shook his head. "I just needed to understand it." She nodded. "And now?" Ryan looked around briefly. "It feels normal." Sophia gave a small, quiet smile. "That's good." New task generated. Strengthen shared presence. Ryan didn't need to think. He was already there. They stood side by side for a moment, not speaking, simply sharing the same space. Ryan adjusted Liam slightly, and Sophia instinctively reached out to help. Their hands touched again, but this time, neither moved away. It stayed. Not forced. Not accidental. Just natural. Task completed. Reward. Relationship depth increased. Additional reward. $150 added. Ryan looked at her, then at Liam, then back at the set. Everything felt connected. Not separate worlds anymore, but shared ones. And as the day came to an end, Ryan Carter realized something quietly. He wasn't just fitting into her life. She was making space for him in it. And he was doing the same. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 68, A Different Kind of Visit. The next morning carried a quiet shift in energy. After experiencing Sophia's world the previous day, Ryan Carter found himself thinking about something new. Balance didn't go one way. If he had stepped into her world, she could step into his. Ryan stood near the table, adjusting his bag while Liam rested nearby. Sophia watched him, noticing the slight change in his expression. "You're thinking again," she said. Ryan looked at her. "You came to my world yesterday," he said. "Now, you should see mine properly." Sophia raised an eyebrow slightly. "University?" Ryan nodded. She didn't hesitate. "All right." Ryan blinked slightly, not expecting such a quick answer. "Really?" Sophia gave a small nod. "Why not?" New task generated. Share personal environment. Ryan smiled faintly. "Then get ready." There was something different about this moment. Not serious. Not heavy. Just new. And as they prepared to leave, Ryan realized something quietly. This wasn't just about showing her a place. It was about letting her into another part of his life. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 69, Walking into His World. The university campus felt alive as always, students moving around, conversations filling the air, and a familiar rhythm that Ryan Carter had once been fully immersed in. But today, it felt different, because Sophia Reed was walking beside him, and Liam was in his arms. Ryan noticed the reactions immediately. Students glanced, then looked again. Whispers followed, but Sophia didn't react. She walked calmly, her presence composed as always. "You're getting attention," Ryan said quietly. Sophia glanced at him. "I'm used to it." Ryan let out a small breath. "Right." They continued walking. For Ryan, this was new, bringing his two worlds together so openly. New task generated. Maintain confidence in public setting. Ryan adjusted his posture slightly. "Ryan." Daniel's voice came from ahead. He approached quickly, then stopped mid-step. "Okay," Daniel said slowly, looking between Ryan, Sophia, and Liam. "Now this is official." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "Yeah." Sophia gave a polite nod. "Hello." Daniel blinked once, then nodded back. "Hi. I've heard about you." Ryan glanced at him. "Not like that." Daniel smirked slightly. "Relax." Task completed. Reward. Social confidence increased. Additional reward. $120 added. The atmosphere stayed light. Not tense. Not awkward. Just slightly unexpected. And somehow, that made it better. Open Book Daily Life of a SuperDadSystem. Chapter 70, Blending Worlds. The campus bench near the main building became their resting point. Ryan sat down first, adjusting Liam carefully, while Sophia sat beside him without hesitation. Daniel stood in front of them, still processing everything. "So this is your life now?" he asked. Ryan nodded. "Yeah." Daniel looked at Sophia again, then at Liam. "You upgraded fast." Ryan sighed. "It's not like that." Sophia let out a quiet laugh. "It's fine." Daniel relaxed slightly. "I'm just surprised." Ryan leaned back slightly. "I was too." There was a brief silence. Then Daniel sat down as well. The three of them sat together, something that felt unusual, but not uncomfortable. New task generated. Integrate personal and social life. Ryan didn't need to think. This moment was already doing that. Sophia looked around the campus. "It's calmer than I expected," she said. Ryan smiled faintly. "It grows on you." She nodded. "I can see that." Liam made a small sound, drawing everyone's attention for a second. Daniel leaned slightly closer. "He's still the calmest one here," he said. Ryan laughed quietly. "That hasn't changed." Task completed. Reward. Life integration increased. Additional reward. $140 added. The moment settled naturally. No pressure. No forced interaction. Just three people sitting together, sharing the same space. And as Ryan Carter looked around his university, then at Sophia beside him, he realized something clearly. His worlds weren't separate anymore. They were blending. slowly, naturally.